So those of us who were living in Los Angeles in 1995 will never forget the news footage of terrified garment workers being released from slave-like conditions at a house in El Monte. It's difficult to remember because for so many of us who have become friends with these heroic women over time, we have seen them and their lives blossom. But at the time, the shocking revelations about the Thai workers who were trafficked into the US and forced to labor behind barbed wire and under armed guard were brought to light by a crusading young attorney barely out of law school. That lawyer is tonight's final honoree, California Labor Commissioner Julie Su. In the nearly 2 decades since that pivotal case, Ms. Su has won national acclaim as one of the most effective legal advocates for immigrants and low-wage workers. A leader in the international effort to end sweatshop abuses, Ms. Su has won millions of dollars for her clients and helped bring about critical policy changes at the state and national level to help ensure that this will not happen again. The Thai garment worker case made it easier to hold corporations accountable and responsible for labor abuses in the underground economy, and also led to new protections for victims of trafficking. Julie has played a central role in challenges to UC Berkeley's admissions policy, Abercrombie & Fitch's discriminatory hiring practices, English-only policies in the workplace, and Arizona's racial profiling law, SB 1070. Given these achievements, it is no surprise that her name appears regularly on lists of the top attorneys in California, or that she was named as one of the most influential people in this city by Los Angeles Magazine. As humble as she is passionate about justice, Julie has brought tremendous energy and leadership to her role as the state's top labor law official. And let me just insert one thing before she comes up. Knowing that she is at the helm, knowing what it means for the workers of California to see somebody who has fought outside of government to be inside government now as our top labor law official means that we indeed have made tremendous progress. So please join me in welcoming PTV's City of Second Chances honoree, California Labor Commissioner Julie Su.
Thank you so much. And to Sister Ortiz and to Mr. Siderman, it really is a privilege for me to be in your company and to be honored alongside you on this stage. Eric mentioned earlier that last year's honoree for the City of Second Chances Award was Maria Elena Durazo. And to follow in Maria Elena Durazo's footsteps in any way is an extraordinary honor. And particularly so tonight because both the name of this award and the organization that's giving it really does so beautifully capture the magic of what is Los Angeles. Los Angeles has been the gateway for so many poor, struggling, and hopeful looking for a second chance. And nobody knows this phenomenon better than the Program for Torture Victims. Los Angeles immigration courts adjudicate the most asylum applications in the entire country. LA, as Julie has already said, is home to more torture survivors than any other US city. Survivors fleeing for their lives, wounded and scared, often alone, who arrive in LA to the warm embrace of PTV. Through PTV, they obtain services they would otherwise not be able to afford, legal representation that they otherwise wouldn't be able to find, and help and support in rebuilding their lives. In this way, PTV's singular work is critical in the fight against torture. And right here in our own city, PTV is on the front lines of the battle for the most basic human rights. But for all the work that PTV does, and for all the reality of Los Angeles as the city of angels and dreams, we all know that there is another side to LA, a side where working women and men struggle every day to earn a just day's pay for a hard day's work and for the dignity and respect that they deserve. Workers who work in sweatshops, sewing garments, washing cars, serving food, cleaning hotel rooms and office buildings, driving trucks, building homes. A recent UCLA study found that low-wage workers in Los Angeles County lose over $26 million a week in wage theft. The majority of those workers are immigrants who came to LA for their second chance, and they're still waiting for it. When the governor first appointed me to be labor commissioner, given the economy and the state budget, many people told me that modest aspirations were in order. Don't let things get worse, fix things at the margins, and keep expectations low. But both my life as the daughter of immigrants, my mom braved a 30-day voyage on a cargo ship to come to the United States, and my work for almost 2 decades at the Asian Pacific American Legal Center taught me that working people deserve far more than modest aspirations. Workers like the garment workers from Thailand who were trafficked into the United States and forced to work behind barbed wire and under armed guard in an apartment complex in El Monte. And against all odds, they not only survived, they fought back and created a second chance for themselves that no one, perhaps not even they, could have imagined possible. And some of them are here tonight, and I am so proud to call you my friends, my sisters and brothers, and my heroes. Actually, could I just ask you all to stand up? Julie, I should also let you know that during dinner, I went to their table and they were making donations to PTV. What they and the many workers that I've been privileged to know and represent as an attorney and learn from remind us is that Los Angeles is the city of second chances because people make it so. People who've crossed oceans in cargo ships and borders on foot, people who flee persecution or poverty or both, who speak out in the face of retaliation and organize even when it looks impossible. People who dream big and know that the fights for workers' rights, civil rights, and human rights are all interconnected and are fundamentally all about the fight for human dignity. As Labor Commissioner, I know that this is not the time for modest aspirations. I am committed to making sure that every worker and all employers who come before the state are treated with the respect and dignity that they deserve, and that they have their cases heard in a timely manner through accurate and consistent enforcement of the law. I am proud that we are focusing on investigations of workplaces that are proactive and meaningful and get the wages that workers earned back into their pockets, as well as prevent violations in the future. And this includes inspections before regular business hours, after regular business hours, and on weekends. It's about time. I prioritize bringing technology to modernize our services, swift, strong responses to retaliation, and created a criminal investigation unit to send a clear message that stealing workers' wages is as much a threat to the state as anything else. And I have prioritized supporting honest employers by leveling the playing field and making sure that businesses in California who play by the rules know that we are on their side. So thank you to PTV for this award. Thank you to Julie Gutman someone I've known for a long time. She has always been about the fight for human dignity, and that's why it was no surprise that PTV chose her to be their executive director, and that PTV has thrived under her leadership. With her boundless compassion and energy, which you saw on this stage already, Julie has blazed a path of second chances for workers and for torture survivors from all over the world. And to drive home the point that the world is very small and we are all interconnected, over a decade ago, I hired Dr. Anna Deutsch, PTV co-founder and clinical director, to serve as an expert witness to help evaluate the harms to the Thai workers of their ordeal. Julie Gutman's vision and that of PTV is to end torture by supporting survivors, to rebuild lives one at a time, to embrace the fundamental principle that everyone deserves a second chance at life. And I pledge to you that I will continue to work hard for an equally fundamental principle, that there is a floor under which no one should have to work and live, and we must all fight to defend it and make it real. Not just for the human dignity of survivors, but for our own humanity. Thank you very much.